Today on TimesCast, leaders of more than 40 countries met in London and agreed on a single mission.
We believe he must go. We're working with the international community to try to achieve that outcome.
But will military force and international pressure inspire a coup that topples Colonel Qaddafi?
We're all watching to see how the Libyan military responds.
We came to London to speak with one voice in support of a transition that leads to a brighter future for the Libyan people.
American, NATO, and Arab officials met Tuesday to discuss the diplomatic and military strategies in Libya. Stephen Lee Myers was at the London conference.
This is the second of these war summits, if you will. The first one took place in Paris 10 days ago, right after the United Nations authorized military action, and in fact, as military action began.
Ultimately, the solution must be a political one, and it must be for the Libyan people themselves to determine their destiny.
I think that today's meeting seemed to be a little bit broader. There were more countries represented, including Turkey, which was left out of the meeting in Paris, much to their chagrin. You saw whole Arab League ministers here today, including Qatar's.
It is Arab business. Unfortunately, I think the participation of the Arabs should be more serious. But I'm glad there is Arab countries in the unity.
No one says that the goal of this is regime change, but it's really hard to not hear that when they talk about how this can only be settled, this conflict, when the voice of the Libyan people is heard. So while it's not the stated aim of the coalition, it's certainly not the stated aim of the United Nations resolution. It's clearly the subtext of what everything that's going on here.
All of us have to continue the pressure on and deepen the isolation of the Qaddafi regime. This includes a unified front of political and diplomatic pressure that makes clear to Qaddafi he must go.
We're assessing the situation today after President Obama last night clarified that the NATO and U.S. military effort will not support the Libyan rebels all the way to ousting Colonel Qaddafi.
But broadening our military mission to include regime change would be a mistake.
That leaves three options. One, that the rebels might, on their own, advance against Qaddafi and drive him from power. Two, that the people of the capital here in Tripoli might rise up against him. And three, the possibility of some kind of military coup in which the Libyan military turns against Colonel Qaddafi. It's increasingly clear that the first two options aren't going to fly. Tripoli remains under a tight lockdown. The rebel forces today advanced and then retreated, suggesting they're not going to have much luck toppling Colonel Qaddafi on their own. And we're all watching to see how the Libyan military responds. Today, an official tour orchestrated by the Qaddafi government took journalists to a little tent encampment outside the city of Misda that was said to house refugees displaced by bombing in the city. However, when the official government tour guides approached the tent encampment, residents emerged with weapons and fired them into the air. So everyone retreated back onto the bus and fled away. Some of that may have been hostility to their Western visitors, but certainly there was a lack of deference to the authority of the government officials escorting the tour, suggesting there may be some wavering loyalty among the peoples of Western Libya.